What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So today is a special topic. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is an update on the whole cash shop items and things I think are important. So the reason why we're bringing this up again and doing an update is because right now, at least on NA and EU, we have a sale going on, which is for, like, I think an event for the next at least 2 weeks, which is one of those $60 buy one, get one free, basically double value. And that is like the one rare time I would recommend for people to actually pick it up if you're thinking about spending or like if you just need anything. So yeah, it happens like once or twice a year, and those are like the rare times I actually would recommend people to get it. So as you guys know, BDO has always been one of those controversial, is it pay to win things? And the answer, quite honestly, is yes and no. But at the same time, it's like over the years of playing BDO since it came out, they've actually done a lot of improvements to the point where it is less pay to win, and a lot of the stuff you can just get in game. And yeah, so the way I look at this is, let's say you're trying to buy a AAA game, right? That usually ranges between like $60 to $100 on average these days. So right now they have that sale for 60 and just get double value, right? So let's just take it as it is. And so if you're thinking about starting the game, here are some things that I wanted to recommend to you guys. And I want to talk about some of the things that I think are either important or things that I think are useful into the game. So as usual, I have a lot of other topics and everything, and like, are these worth it? Should you get it? And at the end of the day, it's what are you doing in this game? Like, do you life skill? Do you grind? Do you PvP? Do you just do everything? And so some of these options might be better for some people and less for others. So I'll just talk about things I think just are overall good, and you could decide whether you think it's useful or not. So as usual, let's start with the function tab. And two things that I think are pretty important: weight and inventory. So this is actually one of the things that I, as a person who's been playing this game for a long time, I could just honestly recommend one or the other. So as you guys know, in this game, there's an inventory system, pretty standard. Every MMO or every just RPG game in general has that. And then this game has a weight system. So like every item has a weight number. And so I personally believe that weight is more important than the inventory slots. And also because if you just play the game, just log in, there's a lot of rewards. Like, I don't know, there's a daily special thing right now, and it just basically hands out free stuff and login rewards, like all of this stuff, just free inventory, right? So I haven't had to buy weight in literally years, and this is all the stuff that they've just given out for free. So basically I could max my inventory on probably another character if I wanted to. But yeah, so if you were thinking about buying it, you don't necessarily need it now that this whole universal storage thing is like in the game. So it's less important for inventory. But if you are planning on, you know, like if you grind a lot for PvE, you're gonna have to, you obviously collect trash loot and then you sell it and all that stuff. So that's why if I were to recommend anything, I would pick up weight over inventory. And there are quests in game where you just get these for free. So I mean, like, it's more like they give you enough that you'll be fine, and if you just want more, that's when you get it. But ultimately, weight is a little bit more important. You could also get it with loyalties as well. So once again, you don't need to spend any money, but if you want to just like speed past the progression and all that stuff and just get it, you can. So that's my opinion. Just over the years, something I've noticed and thought it was helpful. Now, this is an interesting topic in the slot expansion tab. So I do have a video on is it important to have multiple characters in this game, like the character slot expansions. Now, I think that video is like 20 minutes, so I'm not going to go into super detail. I'll just leave a lot of these videos in the description, so if there's something I talk about in this video that might be interesting, check that out. But here we have all of our characters. The reason why it's important to have multiple characters, even though most people just play one character as their main, is because every character has their own energy and can hold enhancements. So basically, even if you play one character, every character is considered an energy battery. And so like this number right here is energy, and then you can use that obviously to turn it into silver or do some life skilling and all that stuff. So it's always just good to have. And aside from that, you could hold fail stacks for enhancers, and obviously the most important part, just if you want to play new characters, that's like fun. And another thing is, just by having all the character slots, you can leave your characters in different locations, like different world bosses and everything. So that way, if your main is in one part of the map, you don't have to travel all the way to another part just to do a boss. You can just leave boss salts or seasonals in different spots and you'll just be fine. So I think, yes, it is important to have it. So they go on sale quite often. I think it's important to get it whenever you can. So I think one of those things you just get over time, not like you just buy 26 of them all at once. Let's see. After that, everything else is kind of irrelevant. It's personal preference. Let's talk about the subscription thingies in this game, like temporary buffs and the value pack. So there are 3 things you can get in this game: a Blessing of Commsylv, Secret Book of Old Moon, and a value pack. So the value pack is basically the subscription of the games, you know, like every MMO where you pay $15, get a bunch of goodies. And so if you're going to spend a minimal amount, this is 1, it's optional. 2, if you're going to buy a value pack, that is like the minimum I would buy, because it's like the subscription of the game. It just gives you weight, inventory, storage, I guess dyes to dye your armor. That's pretty big. And bonus to like combat, XP, and all that stuff, life skills and everything. And the biggest thing is market tax. You get 30% more off the sale. So like basically, instead of getting like 1 billion silver, you get like 1.3 billion or something anyway. So either way, it is good to have the sub going. They kind of give a lot of these away for free. Just like it depends on the holidays. They usually give it away. So that is like a minimum. And other things that they include that I do have an opinion on, are these worth it? So these are the extras that stack on top of, well, not really stacked, they're all like separate buffs. But this one is a blessing. Basically, it's more for life skillers because you get the energy recovery. It also gives item drop rate for grinding. But I think this is less important than the Secret Book of Old Moon, because the Old Moon book gives XP, you being able to change skill add-ons and buy Villa scrolls. So if you're a person that does everything in the game, I think I would value the Secret Book of Old Moon more than the Blessing of Commsylv. So if you can only choose one of the 3, obviously it'd be the value pack. If you can choose 2 out of 3, it'd be Secret Book of Old Moon. And obviously if you just want to buy all 3, buy all 3. Let me give you a low-key thing. If you're on NA, you could just put an order on these, and when there's a sale, you could generally get them. So I know this is gonna sound weird, but it's like, let other people do it, and then you just pay silver, and then the orders go through. So like I can usually probably get one like every 15 days, but if you're trying to keep them all going, it's kind of difficult. So yeah, that's just my opinion. The item drop rate 20%. It's nice, but I don't think it's worth like $25 or whatever they charge a month for it every 15 days. So yeah, I do think the Old Moon book is more for people who are, I wouldn't say beginners, but more just like you grind a lot or you life skill a lot and you just do a lot of stuff in the game in general. Whereas this one is just kind of a small boost, and realistically, I think it's like the least important of the 3. Let's talk about these 3 things next. So the campsite, I actually have a video on how to get one where you use silver instead of paying real money. The difference obviously is one is permanent and one you just obviously non-paid like real money version is one that is like a, I think it's a 7-day one, and you just kind of have to just keep buying or getting the materials to craft a new one every 7 days. And then the paid one is basically, it's permanent. You do it once, you're done. So I personally have the paid one, but I have a video on how to get it for free, and I'll leave that in the description as well. Basically, you do a short series of quests, turn in some items, and then they give you like a few items, you combine it, and then you just have the tent. The function's the same thing as the paid one. You just don't pay real money, but it's temporary. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. Maid and Butler. This is something they actually give away quite often in terms of just login rewards, events, and holiday stuff. So I wouldn't really recommend buying these unless you think you need it. And so the way it works now is transition and storage. You have an icon right here for your Maid and Butlers. You can open your storage and basically pick everything from all your storages. And the other one works as a central market where you can just take out items from your central market storage. Unless I really think they should just combine all your Maids and Butlers into one, because it used to be very useful back in the day before the whole Magna system thing came out. And now you could just pull everything from any storage. And the central market basically functions the same way. So I wish they would just combine them into one item, but the functionality is basically the same. So I think they're useful, but I also think that you don't really need them unless you are grinding a lot and you have to literally dump stuff on into your storages. But there are some tricks that I can give people, like how to inventory horse stack. It's something that people have been doing for the years, and it is what it is. So basically, if you grind like 10 hours, just put your loot on your horse, and then you can overweight your horse, and then basically you never have to do it. But either way, I think they should be combined into one, and I guess as long as the system still exists, I personally think that storage maids are worth a little bit more than the central market transaction maids. So if you had to pick one, I would do more storage, but ultimately at the end of the day, they function basically the same. So that's just my opinion, and yeah, don't really have anything else to say about that. It's not really, they have a lot of sales. I wouldn't buy it at full price. Get them one just like, here, you can buy 3 of them for the same price and then get one free, and it's like the same thing. So I'm like, okay, cool. I haven't bought one in like 5 years, so just to give you an idea of how little you actually need it. Oh boy, let's talk about the Fairy now. As you guys know, the Fairy is probably one of the most pay-to-win things in this game. I have a video on that one as well, where I go more into detail on everything. But just to give you a quick idea of what the Fairy is, basically, you get a Fairy. Getting the Fairy itself is very easy. It doesn't require any real money. You can level it up by just giving it, what are these things? These like sweet honey wines, or I think green gear, which are obtained just by grinding and everything. So just buy green gear off the market for silver. You can level it up. So the way it works is if you get a Fairy from tier 1 to tier 4, you can probably get a tier 4 just by login rewards and events every now and then. But like either way, if you wanted it, you can get it in one day with $0 spent. The hardest part about this, and the most expensive part, is re-rolling the right skills. So this is where people spend lots of money on it. So your Fairy has a lot of skills. You can choose between basically everything in here. And the hardest part is because it goes from tier 1 to 4. So like, how this says continuous care 4 and like 5. So basically Tet and Pen, kind of, that's the best way to describe it. If I were to recommend some skills to other people and what I think are priority skills, it would be Miraculous Cheer 5. Because this allows you to use potions on cooldown, or like, how if you didn't have it, you would be manually pressing the potion. And if you did have it, your Fairy will automatically use a potion when your health or mana goes below a certain point, as long as you have them in your inventory. And if you have infinite potions, basically you never have to worry about that again in your BDO career. So Miraculous Cheer is the most important one. Feathery Steps is, you know how we talked about weight versus inventory before? You can, with this, get up to 125% of your weight before getting over encumbered, and that's basically like not spending an extra $30. After that, it's really personal preference. I think Continuous Care is more of an end game thing, an end game skill that people would need when you're doing full elixir rotations. And do I think it's helpful? Yes, but I don't think that 99% of people will really use it to the full extent until you get to the end game. And then after this, Morning Star is literally light on, light off, whatever. I think it's helpful, but some people obviously don't. And then Underwater Breathing plus 30 seconds. If you never go in the ocean, you don't need it. But I personally have done Underwater Gathering before, and it's one of the most tedious things I've ever done in this game. So that's why I had it. If you never do that, you don't need it. So basically, people re-roll their skills quite often, and trying to get the perfect fairy, that's where people spend a lot of money on it. And that's also where I think that is the most expensive thing you can probably light money on fire doing in this game, next to costumes, but we'll get into that. All right, so once again, have a video if you want to see more in details on everything. I'll leave all those in the description as well. Let's see, we talked about all of these already. Apparel. So here's one thing that's also a hot topic. Costumes. The pay to win part of costumes is you buy a costume and you extract it at the blacksmith for Tron stones. And basically, when you have Tron stones, you can enhance your gear without it downgrading. So that's where it comes, where people think it's pay to win. And yes, it is. However, I'll be straight honest with you. Yeah, some people might have more gear than you, but if you're at late game and where everyone's gear is more or less the same, let's say you're a day one player, you just drop like, I don't know, let's just pick a big number, $20,000. That's just a number. Let's say you match your gear with someone else's and like an endgame player. At a certain level, skill is also more important than how much money you've thrown at the game. So I guarantee you, also class balance is just, that's another topic. Let's not get into that. So basically, I have seen people with like a 260 AP destroy people with like 290 AP. It is what it is. Class balance is a thing. So after a certain point, like the 270 probably is when like the diminishing returns happens, and like all classes can more or less compete with each other to an extent. So aside from that, do I think it's bad to buy costumes? Like, let's say like every MMO has cosmetics, every game has cosmetics. If you're just buying a costume because you literally just like it, I don't care, do what you want. I think more people are just mad because like you literally could just throw infinite money at the game and then get the best gear. Trust me when I say the game balance, it's not so great. And people have been complaining about this since like day one of 7 years ago. So it's one of those things where if you buy it and you just like the costume, cool, I don't care. Cosmetics, not a big deal to me. If you're throwing money at the game for pay to win, honestly, I really don't care either. Because at the end of the day, like I've seen people with a lot of gear and they're just not good. So it is what it is. Does it bother me in general? No, I don't care. Because most of the time, like the hard truth in this game is most people don't PvP. The people who do PvP are just like a small percentage of the game, but the rest of everyone else is either life skilling or grinding. And most of those things are done solo. So your gear is basically irrelevant. So at the end of the day, yes, that part is pay to win. But does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? No, not really. Unless your only goal is to be in the 1% of PvPers, chances are no one cares. So yeah, that's my stance on costumes and cosmetics pay to win. If you're buying it just because you like it or you like collecting outfits in this game, people have always said fashion is the end game of MMOs. I don't care. It's whatever. So, yeah, they also have housing. Once again, my stance on all of this is if it's cosmetic, it doesn't matter how much you spend on it. It doesn't affect me. Who cares? Housing, every game has it. Pretty standard. So, doesn't bother me. I think one thing going into the mount category is having a horse whistle in this game. So, they give you one by, I think, default in this game. Like, there's a quest line you can do that just gives you a permanent whistle. The difference between a regular whistle and a celestial one is the distance you can call your horse at a certain range. So, like, with the celestial one, you can call your horse, like, no matter where you are with an unlimited range. So, I think if you are only playing one character, I think that is something that is definitely worth getting. And, I think it's actually like on sale now. So one of those things I'd recommend people to pick up at least once. And yeah, that's important. As to horse gear, once again, I just gave you my opinion and stance on what I think about cosmetics. Yes, it does give a little bit of stats on each piece, but once again, it's a horse. It takes you from point A to B. If you're mad that you get 1% more speed than someone else, I don't know. I think you got some other problems to worry about. Same with the ship. I actually have a video of this. I for science actually bought this for like $60. Actually, I think I used a coupon, so it wasn't 60. I don't think I could ever justify myself spending $60 on a boat skin. But I think I think I had like a fat coupon. That was the only reason. But anyway, you guys can see this. I personally have the Valor. I thought it was pretty cool. It has some cool effects on it, like a dragon flying over. So it gives some stats, but once again, ever since the naval fame came out in this game, there's like boat PvP is dead. And yeah, it does give some stats, but once again, sailing is mostly a solo player activity. And if you're going 2% faster than someone else, who cares? I personally have never have gotten into horse training as much as like leveling up horses with a wagon too much. But once again, I have the same stance on all of this as I do before. One thing I think is important is probably getting a horse whistle at some point. They kind of give it away pretty often, whether you're a new player during the seasons, you get like the Black Spirit Pass or something that just gives you one. That's cool. And yeah. Oh boy, pets. I actually have a video of this on my whole stance of pets in general. That's like a 30-minute video. So if you want to hear all my thoughts and opinions on it, I'll leave a link in the description. But in general, pets are more than just like visually there. So basically, pets in a nutshell are like they have stats in this game. Yes, and they can go from tier 1 to 5. Yes, I've seen people spend a lot of money on it, but once you get tier 4s and you can get a lot of pets for free just by playing the game, login rewards, events, to the point where I haven't had to buy a pet in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in this game. And after I got all my tier 4s, I just never bought a pet again. And like all this scrolling down, literally just given to me from logins and stuff. So to the point where if you've been playing as long as me, you probably have the same, if not more, pets than I do. And then so, once again, I have a video on what are the important pets that I think are worth getting. That goes into the more end-game details of, like, here's how to min-max and what skills you should get based on what you do. So it's kind of one of those videos if you are interested in watching it. But overall, I do think people could spend a lot of money. There is a system in this game where you can enhance your pets. Let me just show you this real quick. So let's say you are trying to upgrade a pet from, I don't know, let's go premium pet, right? All right, let's use this for example. let's take this tier 1 pet that you want to get up to tier whatever, right? So this is the one you want, and then you add these to it, and then if you add one pet, it gives you a chance to go to tier 2 or tier 3. In my opinion, if you are just going to be lighting money on fire, here's what I would do. Add another one, make that number 100%. Because you are gambling real money on this. So if you're going to do that, my recommendation is just to guarantee it. It might be a little bit more, but it is what it is. At least you don't feel the stress of failing. And I would just 100% it every single time. But at least you can guarantee what you want. So that's just what it is. And yeah, so hopefully you guys are more informed about things and my opinions on a lot of the things in this game. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. Let me know, or join the Discord and all that stuff. If you are interested in more stuff, I'll leave a link to some videos that I have in the description. So if any of those topics that I talked about earlier were interesting, just go watch those. Those are probably more on the detailed side of videos, so like at least 15-20 minutes per. But at least they'll give you more of an insight on, is it worth it? Is it really something you should invest into? But overall, hopefully this made a lot of things more clear, and the only reason why I talked about it today is because we did have the sale. So yeah, spend responsibly, I guess. And with that said, thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you guys come back. We do BDO videos pretty regularly for beginners, returning players, and people who are looking to get better at the game in general. So hopefully some things I do will help you as a player. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments, join the Discord and all that stuff. Happy to answer your questions, and I will see you guys later. Peace.